Hey everybody, Keith Dotson here with Tina in Rochester, New York at the George Eastman Museum. We're here for the exhibition Life with Photographs, 75 Years of the Eastman Museum. It's a big show with a fantastic mix of historic and contemporary images, but I may skip some pieces so I can spend more time with others that I find most interesting. This Allison Rossi print looks like a landscape, but it's actually made by pouring developer over parts of a very old expired sheet of photo paper. She's made an entire series of these. Sorry y'all, it's really difficult to shoot these without reflections, but I'll be doing my best. Electrostatic transfer prints by Eileen Cowan, 1976, called Flash. Blow Up from 2007, a chromogenic development print by Ori Gerst. This is called Six Oranges, Buffalo, New York. It's a chromogenic development print made in 1975 by John Fall. This is Barbara Krueger's gelatin silver print called Untitled, in parentheses, You Are a Captive Audience. Krueger used appropriated advertising images to make a statement here. My, look at all the goodies yet to come. Let's start with this wonderful grouping by one of the greats, Eugene AJ. I'm going to give you an up-close and personal look at these prints. Look at the color of these and the surface of the paper as well. These photographs were all shot in Paris and they're all albumin silver prints. This is my first time seeing one of August Sander's prints in person, and it's a beauty. Sander's known for his portraits of German working people and for his opposition to the Nazis. Sadly, thousands of his negatives were destroyed during the war and after. And get really excited seeing great photographs by legendary photographers. To me, it's like meeting a rock star in person. This is an 1840 daguerreotype of an Aztec stone symbol. You can see why daguerreotypes are called mirrors with a memory. Difficult to photograph, but I hope you can see it. One of the highlights of the exhibition for me was this monumental photograph by German photographer Candida Hoffer. It shows a library in Paris. Here's a look at the print surface. There's so much detail in here, it feels like you could fall right into it. Here's an early Santa-type print by British botanist Anna Atkins, who was one of the first women to delve into the photographic experience. This is a print by the legendary Japanese street photographer Daido Moryama. It's a bit surreal because his photo contains reflections in glass, and of course I'm reflecting in there too. But I'm a proud owner of a signed Moryama print myself, and a fan of his work. Before Ansel Adams and many others glorified the American West in photography, there was the great Carlton Watkins. He was one of the first to photograph Yosemite and many other now iconic Western landscapes. But his was a tragic story that I told in detail on my podcast a while back. He established and then lost a photo art gallery in San Francisco. And thanks to the fact that there were no real copyright protections back then, that included all the work that was in the gallery as well. But he did go on to help sway the U.S. government in the direction of protecting Western lands and ultimately the founding of the National Park System. In the end, he wound up blind, destitute, and was committed to an institution for the insane, where he died and was placed into an unmarked grave. This is an Edward Weston Platinum print from 1924, and it's a portrait of his muse and lover, Tina Modotti. Margaret Burke White, taken at a dam in Montana in 1936. Next, we see a part of the show dedicated to movements and collectives in photography, beginning with a set of gelatin silver prints from an influential early collective of black photographers who worked in the forefront of the American Civil Rights Movement. Next, we come to the new topographics movement, in which photographers redefined what landscape photography meant and looked like. Rather than pristine, beautiful nature, they depicted the landscape and the human impact on it. This glass case featured historic photographs. Look at the surface of these prints, so beautiful. And check out the breathtaking color of this 2009 photograph by Lindsay Adario. Somehow it looks completely natural and yet more vivid than real life. And I think I recognize that paper as Hanamulla Fine Art Baryta. Here's a remarkable 1939 photograph by Miriam Post Walcott shot in Mississippi. She was one of the famous photographers who worked for the Farm Security Administration during the Great Depression. She made a lot of great work in the American South, and I've inadvertently followed in her footsteps a few times in places like Rodney, Mississippi, which is now called a ghost town, although some people do still live there. A print from the great Mexican photographer Graciela Iturbide, who remains one of my personal favorites. Here's a famous photograph by the legendary Henri Cardier Brassan that shows an accused Nazi sympathizer in post-war France. This is a salt print from 1855 made by British photographer Roger Fenton, who is known for his images of the battlefields of the Crimean War. How rare is it to see something like this on display in a photo exhibit? And we wrap up the show looking at some police mugshot photos from Fort Wayne, Indiana, taken in 1911 and 1915. What do you think about these as photographs in an exhibition? To me, there's some interest, but in looking at their reasons for arrest, it seems like they were all arrested for minor crimes like loitering or something, and now their mugshots are memorialized forever. Maybe there's more to it than meets the eye, but it seems a bit unfair to me. Anyways, I love seeing this show. I'd really been looking forward to it for several months. Afterwards, Tina and I had lunch in the museum's cafe, and then we took a walk in the gardens of George Eastman's mansion. Hope you enjoyed a brief look at these incredible photographs. I encourage you to try to see photo exhibits near you whenever you can. Thanks for watching. Be sure to visit my website at keithdotson.com.